So what is object? Object is nothing but an entity. It's going to have its own state and its own behavior. To create a class in PHP, I'm using the keyword class. Okay, I'm going to use the keyword called class. If I want to inherit the features from one class to another, what I want to do? I want to extend the parent class to my child class. Hello to all, a warm welcome to my new unit, and the unit name here is Class and Objects in PHP. I'm your Revati ma'am, faculty from the Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, first grade college, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. So dear student, in my today's session, I'm going to deal with class, objects as well as inheritance. So dear student, we all are familiar with the concept like class and object. What is class and what is object? So dear student, please make a note here. PHP is example for object-oriented programming language. So when I say object-oriented programming language, then it must support the concepts like class, object, polymorphism, data abstraction, data encapsulation, and so on. Now, if I consider class, what is a class? Class is nothing but a blueprint or template. And if I consider object, object is nothing but the instance or functions of the class or instance of a class. Okay, fine. Anyway, we will discuss all those things in depth in my today's session. So, what is class? Class is nothing but a group of object. In simple word, I can tell it is a template. Okay, fine. Let me to consider the example here. To create a class, I'll start with the keyword class. Okay, fine. Now, think that, okay, I'm taking the class for 6th sem B.Ca. So, 6th sem B.Ca. Okay, fine. If I consider the classroom, okay, what are the things I have? I have the board, black board. Okay, fine. Then I have the students. Okay, fine. Then along with student, I have the, okay, chairs as well as benches. So a class, what is class? Class is just a template. Okay, class is just a template or it's a blueprint. Okay, fine. Where I'm going to have all the what? Variables as well as methods. Okay. So, if I want to access the variables and methods, what I want to do? I want to create an object of the class. With the help of the object, I can able to access the methods and variables of the class. So, a class is a group of objects which have common property. So, which can have the common property. In simple word, it is a template or it is a blueprint. From the class, I can able to create a object. So, we can able to create a object. So, an entity. Class is what? It's an entity that can have the state and behavior. Okay, fine. If I consider object, object can have this state and behavior, and it is known as object. So, what is object? Object is nothing but an entity. It's going to have its own state and its own behavior. Okay, fine. For example, if I consider chair, bike, marker, pen, tables, etc. So, it's going to have its own state as well as behavior. Okay, fine. If I consider this recording room as my class, okay, then I can have the objects like board. Okay, I can have the objects like pen. Okay, if I consider this pen, okay, so the type of pen, color of pen, width of pen, dimension of pen, okay, these are nothing but the, okay, objects. Okay, fine. A class is a fundamental concepts in PHP. Okay, it's mainly act as a blueprint or a template and that outlines the structure and behavior of the object. So who is going to define the structure and outline of the object? That is none other than the class. So class act as a foundation for creating the object to specific type by providing a set of predefined properties and methods. In simple word, what is class? Class is a blueprint or it is a template. Okay, so by using class I can able to create a object. Object is nothing but the entity. Okay, fine. Now creating a class in PHP involves the class keyword. In the sense, what if I want to create class in PHP, I want to start with the keyword called class. At the same time, what I want to do, I want to specify the user defined class name. A class can also have a constructor. In the sense, what is constructor? Constructor is nothing but the method. Okay, it's a special method whose name is same as the class name. So dear student, let me to write the class here. To create class, I am going to use the keyword called class, and A is nothing but the class name. And if I have a method, okay, same as class name, then it is called as constructor. So class can have the constructor. The constructor of the class is a special method. It's a special method. Okay, it is automatically executed when an object is created from that class. When I create a object of that class, what's going to happen? The constructors are automatically executed. So if I consider this one, okay, this is the example for the class, how I can able to create a class in PHP. So I'll start with the PHP, okay, and I'll write the keyword called class, and here person is nothing but the class name. What kind of class name? It is nothing but the user defined class name, and start with the flower bracket, okay, and I can have the set of statements, and I'm going to close the flower bracket. At the same time, I'm going to close this script. That's nothing but the PHP script. Okay, fine. Now see here, I have very simple example here. Okay, so I have the class called rectangle. Okay, in that, okay, what is this? Private, public. That's nothing but the access modifier. So if I consider access modifier, I can have the three type of access modifier: private, public, and protected. And see here, I have the variable called length, and I have the variable called width. And here I have the function, and in, okay, and in PHP, okay, I use a constructor. Okay, I use a constructor, and it takes the two parameters, and this is example for your parameterized constructor. Okay, fine. Then what I will do, I'll assign the value to the length, okay, and at the same, I'll assign the value to the width. Okay, fine. Now I have one more function called calculate perimeter. Okay, so it's a function. So I'm going to use the keyword function. To create a function in PHP, what I want to do, I want to use a keyword called function. And see, this function, okay, returns the value. So I'll write return. Okay, I'm going to find the perimeter. Okay, fine. Then what I want to do, once again, I have the user defined method called calculate area. It's also the function, user defined function, and I'm going to calculate the area. Okay, this is the way I can able to create a class in PHP. Okay, fine. Now, what is an object? Till now, we discussed how we can able to create a class. To create a class in PHP, I'm using the keyword class. Okay, I'm going to use the keyword called class. Okay, fine. Now, what is object? Object is nothing but the instance of an class. So, it is nothing but the functionalities of an class. So, an object-oriented programming language, an object is a instance of the class. So, what is instance? Instance is nothing but the functionality. Okay, it is nothing but the functionality. It represents a specific entity or concept in our code. So, object have its own properties. Properties in the sense what? That is nothing but the attributes or variables. Okay, and okay, can execute the methods. It's also known as functions or behavior. So, object can have its own property as well as state. So, here we discuss how to create an object. See here, I have the $sign, okay, variable. So, it is nothing but your object name. It is nothing but your object name. User defined object name. Equal to new is a keyword, okay, and class name. So, class name is nothing but your, okay, see, I have class name opening and closing parenthesis. What it indicates? It indicates it's a constructor. Okay, fine. Now, I have the small example code here. See, we know that we are going to embed PHP with the HTML. So, I'll start with HTML. Okay, I'll start with the body. Okay, inside the body, I'm going to create a class. What is my class name? It is nothing but the fruits. Okay, fine. Now, see, I have the variable called name and it's of type public. So, apple. Okay, now what I'm doing here? I'm creating the object. Now, okay, I'm creating the object apple. Okay, how? New, it is your class name. What's my class name? Fruit. What kind of constructor it is? Default constructor. So, it is default constructor or no parameterized constructor. Now, apple, okay, with the help of object, okay, using arrow operator, I'm going to call the name, okay, and I'm going to assign the string called apple. I'm assigning apple. Now, if I want to display the value apple or string apple, what I will do? I'll go with echo, okay, then what is this? It is my object, arrow operator, and my variable name called name. Then what I will do? I'll close the PHP script, okay, I'll close the body and I'll close the HTML. And what is my output? Apple is my output. Okay, fine. Now, I have the concept called inheritance. So, what is inheritance? Inheritance is nothing but the reusability. Reusability in the sense what? When I want to reuse the property, what I will do? I'll go with the inheritance. So, whenever I want to understand the concept like inheritance, you have to remember two things. One is your old class, one is your new class. Okay, when the new class, okay, when I create a new class using the old class, then it is called inheritance. So, I'm going to derive a new class from the old class, that is known as inheritance. And in C++, Java, or in our .NET, we have discussed inheritance. There we have discussed single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, and hierarchical inheritance. But in PHP, we can have only single inheritance. So, it is a concept of accessing the features of one class from another class. So, it is the feature of accessing from one class to another class. Think that, okay, I have some features in my old class, okay, and I want to access that feature in my new class. In that time, what I will do? I'll go with the inheritance. So, if we inherit the class features into another class, we can access both the class property. So, this old class is called by the name superclass, okay, or it is called by the name parent class, or it is called by the name base class. And what about a new class? This new class is nothing but the child class, okay, or it's nothing but the subclass, or it is nothing but the derived class. Okay, it's nothing but the derived class. So, if I want to inherit the features from one class to another, what I want to do? I want to extend the parent class to my child class. So, what I will do, I'll go with the extends keyword. Okay, so I'll go with the extends keyword, and in PHP, we can able to have only single inheritance. Even I can have multiple inheritance that can be achieved by using multiple single inheritance. So, to implement inheritance in PHP, what I will do, I'll go with the extends keyword. Okay, fine. Now, let's discuss the syntax here. I have the class called derived, okay, then extends base class. Okay, fine. Let me to draw the single inheritance first. See, I have the class A. What is this? It's my parent class or super class, or it is nothing but the base class. Okay, now I have the child called B. B can able to acquire the property of A. Okay, so it is nothing but the subclass or child class or derived class. Okay, fine. Now, first what I want to do, I want to create a class called A. Okay, it can have its own property. Okay, fine. Now, okay, I'm going to create a class called B, and this B extends the property of A. Okay, now we can have all the properties of A, in the sense what? All the belongings of A. Now, see here, class, the child class is nothing but the derived class. Okay, I'll start with the extends keyword, and base class is nothing but your parent class. Now I can have the members and functions here. Okay, fine. Now, okay, so I'll start with the, this is just a syntax. Now, okay, I want to create a single inheritance. So, where I create the single inheritance in my PHP script. So, I'll start with the PHP. So, what's my class name? A is nothing but the class name. Okay, in this class, I have a function called F1. So, what's my function name? F1. And I'm going to display classes and objects. So, I'm just going to convey the message that it is just a class and objects. Okay, fine. Now, same thing I want to have in my next class. So, what I will do, I'm going to extend the class. So, B is my child class. Okay, B is my child class. A is my parent class. I want to acquire the properties of A in my B. So, class B extends A. In this, I have a function called F2. Then whatever this function, it's a keyword used to create a function in PHP. And I'm going to have the message called PHP. Okay, fine. Now, what I will do, okay, I'm going to create a object only for my child class. By using the object of child class, I can able to access the methods and variables of the child class as well as the parent class. So, with the help of object, I'm going to call a method of the parent class, and with the help of object, I'm going to call the method of child class. So, F1 method present in your parent class, and F2 method is present in your, that is func2 is present in your child class. So, this is the way I can able to implement single inheritance. So, why I use single inheritance? It is mainly to reuse the property. So, instead of writing same code again and again, what I can able to do? I can able to reuse the properties. For that, I am going to have the inheritance. Okay, fine. And PHP supports only single inheritance. Even I can have the multiple inheritance by using single inheritance. Anyway, dear student, in my today's class, I started with what is class, what is object, and how I can able to create a inheritance. In my next class, I'm going to deal with, I'm going to deal with form handling, in the sense how I can able to create a forms in PHP. What are the different methods supported by the PHP to handle the forms? All those things we will discuss in my next session. Anyway, dear student, thank you for watching my session, and let's meet in the next session with more information about PHP. Until that, keep watching and keep learning. Thank you.